So this is likely the worst video that I've made in my entire life. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Find Me in Seattle. I'm Connor, and today you are in my kitchen, which this video usually starts with me exploring the city of Seattle and getting coffee, but we're at my house and we still need coffee. And if you've been following along, I'm only drinking iced coffee at the moment, so let's make that real quick. I live in this incredible coffee city, arguably the best coffee city in the entire world. So I get to drink all this coffee all over the place. But at my house, it's not like that. I am lame and I have an espresso machine and it's easy and simple and it worked for the most part. Yeah, sorry for anyone who's gonna be offended by that. Jump back in next week and I'm sure I'll be at another coffee shop. All right, let's get a cup. Check out this Starbucks collection. My wife and I have traveled all over the world over the last couple of years, and my wife thought it was a great idea to get a Starbucks cup from almost all of the places, and so today we're going with Louisiana. Now the most annoying part of this espresso machine, it sounds like a jet engine. Not great when you got a sleeping baby. All right, right now it's hot coffee. We're gonna add some milk. I gotta get some ice. Very important to refill the ice. And here we are. I go to all these coffee shops. I drink a lot of coffee. I can tell the difference based off the espresso that they get, but I'd still, after the tens of thousands of cups of coffee I've had across Seattle, if you go through my iPhone and search coffee, it is insane, all the different pictures of coffee cups and latte arts that I do have. And I still don't, probably couldn't tell you what a good cup of coffee is versus a bad cup of coffee. I don't think I'm really a coffee snob. Like I said, I'm drinking espresso iced coffee right now, and I think it's pretty good. Just as good as most of the other coffees that I'm drinking in these videos. No offense to all those great places that I will continue to enjoy and continue to go to. Man, this hair, it's wilding right now. That's, the struggles of long hair. All right, we took a sip. I am in my kitchen today. For those of you who have been following me a long time, this setting makes an appearance every now and then in my videos. I did a series for Fran's Bakery here in Seattle. They're like a very well-known Pacific Northwest Seattle-based bakery. Actually, are they Seattle-based or are they Portland-based? I'm pretty sure they're Seattle-based. And I did a bunch of videos about their bread. Love the bread. It's fantastic. Let me grab this. So I did these bread videos. And what's funny about that series of cooking videos that I did was at the time I was very busy. I didn't have a lot of flexibility to take on new clients. And I didn't really want to do a cooking show. I don't know anything about cooking. I'd cook occasionally, but I don't do anything fancy. I don't know anything nice. I couldn't educate you guys at all about cooking. It's been one of the hardest parts about creating this new long form show, Find Me in Seattle, is I'm realizing, or I've always realized, like, in all my videos, I don't describe food. I don't really talk about the food. Like, I talk about people and I talk about the experience, and I encourage people to go try it for themselves and make up their own mind. It's not my job to say if a place is good or bad. And I was explaining that to them when they're like, hey, we want you to cook food with our bread. And I said, all right, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get videos that the whole point is gonna be, I don't know anything about cooking, right? It is about just a guy at home who knows nothing about cooking, but he has this bread, he's got to make something. And so they would just like provide me recipes and go like, go make it. And I'd shoot it all on my phone, here in my kitchen, natural light. So I pitched them this idea and I didn't think it was going to get accepted. I kind of pitched it with the expectation of like, no one's going to want this, of like, here's a non-cooking expert. And I gave him the price. I said, I'll do this many videos for this price, assuming that I was going to get a no. And they come back and they said yes. And I was like, oh no, now I gotta do these videos. They're not videos that I'm like really proud of. I don't think they look amazing. We have some incredible food creators here in the city that have beautiful shots and can explain the food. Mine was just like, here's how you make fried PB&J sandwiches. Or here's how you make a turkey club using Fran's bread. It was very simple and it was a good time, but definitely not my best work, but a fun experience nonetheless. I'm always so impressed by the creators that take their bedroom or their office and it's like a tiny little like 10 by 10 square, and they can shoot it from like 5,000 different angles and always look different. And over the years, I have taken my office in different places and staged things up. And I kind of like have made little sets around my house, and I like never use them. So we're gonna experiment doing the same thing. I'll take you, as the episode goes on, you're gonna kind of see a few different settings around my house. All right, so let's play the catch-up game. So Connor, what's been going on? How you been doing? This weekend, y'all, was so nice because for the first time, Amanda and we hired a babysitter for not just Saturday night, but also Sunday night, and it was just fantastic. I woke up on Monday just feeling refreshed and excited because of the time that we had together. I'm wearing the Sounders jersey, and on Saturday, we went to the Seattle Sounders game. They played St. Louis. I am a diehard Sounders fan. I've always figured, how do I work the Sounders into this vlog? And I haven't figured that out, but I guess this is a Sounders corner for a second. The Sounders game was awesome. We won 4-1. We went down 1-0 and then came back, and just like, once we scored and tied 1-1 with a penalty kick, they just like turned the Jets on, and all of a sudden we didn't turn the ball over. We had the ball on our side of the field for the entire game, and then we just stormrolled St. Louis. It was awesome. Such a fun time. And a place that we went before the game we haven't been to in forever was Flat Stick Pub. And so that was Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we have been talking about seeing the movie Sinners for the last couple weeks. My wife had really wanted to see it in a theater. The last movie that we saw in a theater was Dune 2 when our daughter was still in my wife's belly. So it's been over a year since we saw a movie. Obviously with a child, it's not very easy, but with having the babysitter on Sunday, Amanda and I got tickets. We made sure to get recliner seats in the movie theater. If I'm buying a ticket to a movie theater from here on out, like, it needs to be a recliner seat. Once you have that premium experience, it is really challenging to sit in a normal seat for 2.5, 3 hours. Like, it's so uncomfortable. It's got to be the laid back recliner seats. And we saw Sinners, and Sinners was awesome, y'all. Highly recommend. If you can see it in a movie theater, the sound of the movie is so good. I don't know if it's going to have the same effect in a house. You cannot watch this movie during the day. The lighting, because it's a vampire movie, is so dark, and there's like deep shadows on people's faces. I am curious what the experience of watching it at home, but it's just like a beautiful movie. Great story, unique story, and I think it's really cool. Amanda was telling me that the guy who made Sinners, in his contract to the studios, he put like a 20-year lease on it. So after 20 years, he's gonna get the rights back to the movie and own the rights. And this already felt like a movie that maybe they're gonna remake in 20 years because it does kind of have this pop culture success right now. And I think that's really cool for him to take ownership of it after 20 years, and we'll see what kind of success it has over the next couple months. But that is just an interesting business style and a unique business approach. And I think people taking ownership back of their intellectual property and just like almost leasing it out for 20 years, I thought was a really cool idea. And I'm curious if more producers, directors, creators are gonna do stuff like that. So I bought these avocados last week, and avocados have been so expensive lately. When they cost like $2 to $4 per avocado, it's just an incredibly fancy treat to be making. Looks good though. Well, turns out I do still have the bread. So in terms of work and videos this past week, I have been struggling to now work on the short form videos because I've been focusing so much on these long form videos, which is kind of just where my focus is. And I've been having more fun shooting these and editing these. But then, you know, the short stuff has taken a hit, and I've got a bunch of different videos in the queue that I could edit. And I've just, like, even this morning, been thinking about those, just been like, man, I really don't want to edit those. And they've just been sitting in the queue. And so that's kind of been a current struggle that I'm having. Been going back and forth. It's like, all right, I only have so much editing time, right? Because I edit the client videos, those have to get prioritized every week. But my own personal videos, I've been spending, 5-6 hours doing these long form videos. So what I'm having to consider is, all right, if that's my budget for editing for a week, then maybe I've got to do 3 long form in a month, and then I just spend one day editing a bunch of short form videos, and then I have like my 4, 5, 6 videos for the month that I post, and then go from there. And then it's like, all right, I take 1 week off, I post those as shorts, and then do the long form. And so inspiration has been, over the past year since I became a father, inspiration has been one of the hardest parts since my life changed so dramatically. I have such a creative job, and before I used to operate kind of like in a 24-hour, 7 days a week cycle where I could work anytime and I could flow in and out. And so if I got inspiration at 8 p.m., I could just go into my office, open up my whatever device, and like get to work, assuming I was free. But now that I'm in fatherhood, I don't have the capacity to just do some of these late night projects. I really just don't have the motivation. Like once my kid goes to sleep, it's time for me to check out. So like one of the hardest things that has happened since I became a father and having this content creator job is I started my own business because I didn't want to work in a 9-to-5. I wanted to have the flexibility. And for years, I did have this flexibility to flow in and out of work and have the space to be creative and have the space for creativity to come to me with ideas that I could execute on. But now I am operating under the mentality of like, I'm only working when my kid is at daycare, right? So now I'm working in like a 9-to-4 window to get my work done. And the creativity side of Find Me in Seattle, just anyone who has a creative job will know, you just can't be creatively on a schedule. And so that's been one of my biggest struggles for the last like 6 months, is figuring out how to fit this all in time. And that once again comes back to these videos, just trying to like be spontaneous and talk to the camera and learn these different tactics of storytelling and being creative on a whim, right? Like I'm saying, I decided I'm going to stay at my house today instead of go to a coffee shop. And it's like, all right, let's create the video while we're here instead, and like just try to flex that creative muscle. But it's been a challenge to be creative when I'm put in a box, when I'm really not used to being in a box. And and as second kid comes, I'm sure it's going to get even more challenging. But I don't want this to sound like I'm complaining whatsoever. This is the challenge that I signed up for and that I am agreeing to and gung-ho for. But it's just about learning a new process and learning to work within the new parameters of the life that I've created. That's how it goes. Avocado toast. Oh, that was a lot. Ugh. So one of the things that I have been nervous about doing or scared to do is diving more into this concept of my personal life and professional life, and like being a father and being a content creator and building this little business that I have, and how that's changed, and documenting that and trying to figure out like, all right, where do the fatherhood lessons fit into the show? How do I want to show that? Because a big issue that happens that I see with families is it then like becomes a family show. And I'm still dealing with the decision of where do my children fit within the show of Find Me in Seattle. And my default position is they do not fit in there at all. I'm hesitant to put their faces out online or to tell stories about them because of the whole opt-in situation. Like they're not signing up for this. They don't know what they're doing. And is this something that they in the future are going to be embarrassed of or unhappy with or not want to be a part of it? But it's also like I see the consequences of this lifestyle and putting yourself online and the trappings. And I'm just skeptical about putting my kids in here for now. So the other factor is parenthood tends to be a lot of complaining. And yes, it's hard and it's challenging, but it's also been full of like these beautiful experiences of watching my children, or my one child grow and learn things and develop. And then I want to share those things too, to like lift up, like this parenthood thing isn't the complaint that everyone has, but I just haven't figured that out yet. I've been debating this idea that I should do a 10 things about fatherhood kind of concept, and do an episode that's like all about me reflecting being a dad. And I'm sure that'll come, but I need to write those ideas down more. It can't be like this, just like on the fly. But when I mentioned this in the last episode, when I was spending the week solo parenting, that was when I really wanted to like film these shots of like bath time or meal time or playtime, whatever it is, and then tell the story through those moments. But then it just comes down to like, it's hard to film those things when you are trying to be engaged with your child. It just feels a little unethical is not the right word, but it just like makes me a little uncomfortable. So we're not there yet. But it is going around in my brain. All right, let's go downstairs in my office. Welcome to my office, and I have something in my hand that I received in the mail this week that I'm very excited to share and to read for myself. This book is called Supersonic. It's a novel by Thomas Konstam. I'm sorry, Thomas, if I said your name wrong, I apologize for that. But I'm really curious about this novel because what it is, it's a story that like connects generations of Seattle history, and it tells the stories of these different characters who lived their lives through the city of Seattle. And so it goes through the different decades and follows these different people. The novel traces their false starts, triumphs, and heartbreaks through the booms and busts of the Yukon Gold Rush, the jet age, big tech, and beyond. Super excited to read this. I think it sounds super cool. So my lighting in the office is just absolutely atrocious. That's something I certainly have not figured out very well on what to do. Mostly because I have these two windows, the one right here behind me, and it just doesn't light well. So, and then I got the overhead lights. You know, I've got these fancy lights, but lighting is not my forte. So, this is the Find Me in Seattle yellow backpack. I made this for myself a couple Christmases ago, like as a gift to my business, just to celebrate the yellow backpack and its history. This is the backpack that I haven't used yet. This is yellow backpack number 6, I believe. It's still got a tag on it, completely blank, and it's been sitting there for a little while, but eventually that'll get put in rotation when the one expires. What else on my little house tour here? Where I had the camera sitting up was a little rock pop socket, but this is a very unique hockey puck that I got from the Seattle Kraken when I did a video with them. I think this was 2 years ago now. I actually filmed the video on my birthday at their Iceplex with my friend Patrick Dodsby, who's a local artist, and he was drawing, and he drew that anchor on this official practice puck, which is very cool. This box, very interesting. The Sounders with season ticket holders, they used to send our like season ticket holder packages in these very cool boxes. There was a couple years in a row that we got these like nice tin boxes. There is nothing in here. It is just decoration. But there have been controversy with the Seattle Sounders the last couple years because last season they sent out our scarves and our season ticket merch and everything like just in an anonymous like plastic bag. Right, like one you'd get from Amazon or whatnot, and people were furious because we have this history of getting these fancy boxes, and then they just like, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. Like, here, just put them in an envelope and ship them, and hopefully you guys are happy with your scarves and whatever else they gave us that year. And I know this year they tried to fix that, but I miss the days when we got those beautiful boxes. Those were very cool. Got scarves up here. Let's look at books. What books we got over here? Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, Atomic Habits, and Shoe Dog. These first three, these are like all creative books. Shoe Dog, that's just an awesome story about Phil Knight building Nike. Obviously, I'm a big fan. Up here, it gets even more random. Encyclopedia Blazer Tanica. The Men in Blazers are like one of my favorite podcasts and shows, all about Premier League soccer. Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, excellent book. Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations, a classic. Dream Golf, this is all about Bandon Dunes in Oregon. Just one of the, like, Disneyland of golf, Reborn in the USA. One of these guys wrote about his journey in becoming a U.S. citizen. This is my ode to Gary Vee right here. I got 4 of the Gary Vee books, and these are the Gary Vee sneakers. I'm going to save that story for another time. We will come back to that one. And then up here, this is a Thai spirit house that we got from Bangkok, sitting on another Tim Ferriss book. Moving on, one of the most embarrassing things about my office is I have this wall full of photos and things sitting up here, and maybe as you'll notice sitting above me, there are empty photos in these frames. I have intended, these have been up here for months, and I have intended to put photos in these frames, and just have been absolutely lazy and a little indecisive about what I want to put up there. And so, yeah, 2 of the frames are just sitting there empty. I was working on that this morning about what I want to put up there, but that will come soon. One of the photos that I think I am going to put up there, or I'm going to put it somewhere at least, my father-in-law took this very cute photo of my daughter and I at the Seattle Aquarium, and then he like printed it on this, like, this paper is like, it's like almost like a felt. But yeah, very dramatic picture of me feeding my child. Very cool, pretty. So this is likely the worst video that I've made in my entire life. I know I've said this in previous vlogs, that sometimes you turn the camera on and you just blank out on things that you want to talk about. If you are still here, thank you so much. Colin and Samir like to call this part of the show the deep end. For those of you who have made it this far, I deeply appreciate you, because this has not been my best episode, I can already tell. But thanks again for joining me. I'm Connor. This is Find Me in Seattle. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're interested or found this interesting whatsoever. I'll see you again next week.